Welcome to Standard Deviation.
Hello, Ciara.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good. You look very nice.
Why, thank you. It's because I don't have a Bushman beard
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that's what that means. When I say you look nice, that means you shaved.
You look nice, too.
Hey, thanks. I also shaved.
When I say that, that means that I'm trying to reciprocate courtesy.
So it's meaningless is what you're saying.
No. It's the thought that counts, right?
That high-pitched no tells me yes.
That's when I feel persecuted. I do that. What? No. It's totally genuine.
Oh, speaking of feeling persecuted, so someone was... I'm members of these, as you know, Myers-Briggs groups. And I'm a member of my own Myers-Briggs groups, INTJ. But I'm also a member of ENFP, because we're supposed to be good matches, I've heard, like relationship-wise. And it's kind of funny because ENFPs are very different from INTJs. And their posts are just totally different. And a lot of times, as you know, you've joined a couple of them and...
They're ridiculous.
Pretty quickly left.
Yeah.
People will just post random stuff. Like it's not, it's almost always not related to even Myers-Briggs. But anyways, there's one post that was saying something to the effect of, why do people say that oppression in America is as bad as those in third world countries? And there were numerous comments saying that suffering is relative. And yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like numerous people. And so I made a comment being like, I'm really confused why people are using this word relative. Like relative to what?
Right.
You know? And someone replied saying that he's like, because I said that it's, you know, America is not perfect. We have a lot of problems, but oppression is objectively better, meaning less existent compared to third world countries. And I guess it depends on what country, but anyway, someone replied saying that, well, is that objectively true? Maybe if you look at the data, but...
And I'm sure they provided data.
Right.
They linked you to it, I'm sure.
But he said, but when you look at the relative individual experience, blah, 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 and he starts going off about suffering and stress and unhappiness. And
That's not oppression.
yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I was like, well, first of all, we do need to look at the data if we're comparing countries' oppression, and we need to look at data and human rights violations and that sort of thing. If we're comparing two individuals suffering, we're not talking about two different countries anymore, and we might not even be talking about oppression, because suffering is not necessarily due to oppression. Many people are stressed and unhappy not because they're oppressed.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was my recent
those groups
argument on the internet.
Really, I mean, like I joined one. I can't remember if it was INTJ or INTP. I switched from INTJ to INTP. My personality changed about 8 years ago. So I can't remember which group I signed up for, but that was the first thing I asked the group was, has anybody else experienced this shift in personality type? And the first response, I got two responses. The first one was just a woman arguing with me, claiming that's not possible. And just all in all, it was just a flame war, really. It was just argumentative nonsense. And she just kept telling me to go look at these different links and shit. And I'm like, this is a discussion group. Like, if you have something to say, then say it. You know, like, you're not Google. I don't need links to things if you have a point to make. But she kept insisting that it's in my interest to go read those links. And I'm like, well, if you can't explain it, then first of all, you're not even answering the question I asked. And secondly, go away. Yeah,
there's a few touchy subjects on those groups. And one of them, I think you hit one. The idea that you can change personality types.
Yeah, and you absolutely can. It's ridiculous for somebody to claim that's impossible. And then the second response was somebody saying, yeah, you totally can change, obviously. Yeah. And that wasn't even, I wasn't asking if you can. I already know you can. I was asking for people's individual experiences. And it just got totally shut down by this woman just trolling me. I mean, she wasn't trolling me. She was being genuine, but very
not
wrong.
Helpful.
Yeah. It's just silly that people think your personality can't change. You know, they want to treat it like a horoscope, like it's just math, like you're just born a certain way and that's just how it is.
Well, we can get into this a little bit. There's a lot I don't know about Myers-Briggs because it's pretty complicated, but my understanding it comes down to what they call cognitive stack and the way you process information. So yeah, I don't know. Is that something you're just born with and it's something that's, you're stuck with, or is it?
Well, that's the main question of just personality science in general. It's the nature versus nurture debate, and it's an open question in psychology. But it seems like for decades now, the data has converged on this middle ground where it's both.
Yeah,
and one can overpower the other depending on circumstances. So like extreme trauma is a nurture element that will potentially overpower whatever default natural traits you have. And then absent that, maybe you're more likely to be influenced just by normal day-to-day activities. But yeah, of course, personality can change. Come on. I think what she was saying is something, I don't know much about the stack, to be fair. I think she was trying to say that how you interact with the world changes, but your personality doesn't. And I guess what she meant by that is that things like your values and belief systems don't, but mine did. Mine changed. That's the whole point. That's why my personality changed. That's what I was starting with as my basis for the post. And she was also saying that just because your result on the test changes doesn't mean your personality changes. And so I was like, well, if it's a personality test, how does that not mean that?
Right.
Like what else can that mean? She didn't answer that. Of course, she just gave me some links. Anyway, I have been really remarkably disappointed with those groups.
Yeah.
They're just garbage.
Yeah, it really is just a group of people. And within a group of people, there's going to be some dum-dums. There's going to be some assholes. There's going to be some smart, interesting people. But yeah, the one you're talking about is rather large. And it's...
A lot of them just use it as an excuse to be dicks, too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they're like, oh, I'm an
INTJ.
I'm just an asshole, so it's okay
God,
here.
I know. Oh my God. I called someone out, some INTJ that said something to the effect, and this is like, I see this type of post a lot. He was saying, my boss reprimanded me for over-serving the customer and having too much integrity.
Okay.
Or something like that. And I see shit like that all the time where it's like this humble brag of... Man, if anything, I am just too smart for people, right. And they hate it, And that's not what people are telling them. There's something else going on that they're not communicating.
Yeah.
And then it's just a circle jerk of people being like, oh my God, I know I've been through that experience as well. I was going to say, I know just how you feel, but INTJs are robots. We don't feel.
Yeah,
But here was a funny thing. I was like, the quintessential INTJ humble brag. And then he tried to outsmart me. He said... he's like, it's not bragging if there's evidence to support my claim. And I'm like, sure it is.
Yeah. Why not?
Since when does bragging mean you're bragging about a lie?
Right. It has to be false for it to be a brag. No, posts like that actually, I think, illustrate why he actually got in trouble, most likely. So that he's not self-aware. He lacks emotional awareness. Emotional intelligence. And that's the whole thing, is that when I was an INTJ, that's how I was. Everything was somebody else's fault. Every time I got in trouble at work for being a dick, it was just that I'm just intimidating him. I'm too smart for him. That's what it is, And that's what changed about my personality. That's why I'm not an INTJ anymore, because shortly after that period when I started looking into all this, I went through a year and a half or so of extreme stress that really just modified my whole worldview. And it also made me much more self-aware. And I stopped making excuses like that. I stopped saying, I got in trouble for being too good. And that's further evidence, I think, for my point that, of course, personality can change.
Yeah. I'm very curious to get a proper Myers-Briggs test, because I've just done the online ones. So, yeah. And that's pretty much like taking an online IQ test, Yeah,
yes and no. I mean, online IQ tests occasionally are fairly accurate. If you find well-respected tests and take several of them and they all say the same thing, you can pretty much assume it's probably more or less accurate. Yeah. Maybe not for IQ, but for something like a personality test, Maybe. I mean, it'd be a weird coincidence if the top 5 by reviews gave you the same score and that wasn't your personality type, I don't
know. I'd still like to try
it's feasible.
It. Yeah. So you want to talk about what should we talk about? I have a few different topics of conversation. How about this one? So it's a new magazine that came out. Oh, Mel Magazine. They actually just contacted me and asked if I wanted to be a regular writer for their publication, if you will.
Have they read your writing, or are they bullshitting?
The person who reached out said that, what's his name? I feel bad. I can't think of his name, but this guy that hosts the Risk podcast, a storytelling podcast, and they put my story from the mystery box on there. He recommended me. He thought I was a good storyteller.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, I just made that observation just now. But this article had been going around for being so preposterous. The title is, Why Won't Woke Boys Pay for Sex? And the subtitle is, Bernie bros, male feminists, and good guy liberals all support sex work, but for some reason they aren't paying girls like me for sex. And that's pretty much the whole article. It's a trans woman who is also a sex worker, and she lives in Portland, Oregon.
Of course.
Yeah, woke city. And she's musing as to why her friends won't pay her for sex if they support sex work.
Her friends, specifically?
Yeah, because all her friends are these woke guys, and she's like, well, if you support sex work, why aren't you paying me for sex?
Wow. Well, that just adds a whole another layer of silliness to it.
Yeah, and then she talks about, she adds some statistics in here to make it, sound good. And one of them is, what was it? So they looked at data as to like demographics of men who buy sex. And it said, she found this data that said half of American men, 58% of 20-something men have paid for sex work. Now, when I first read this, my instant thought was actually something that was verified by Katie Herzog on the Blocked and Reported podcast, which is a really good podcast. She actually looked this up. My first thought was, those are guys who just tried it once.
Yeah.
I know plenty of, 20-something guys.
58%?
Yeah.
Wow.
These aren't regular customers.
No.
Regular customers are usually like older guys who are single, maybe don't have a lot of romantic opportunities. But yeah, there are plenty of 20-something guys who've, gone to Thailand or something and tried it out. So that's a pretty piss poor statistic to throw in there, being like, I know you guys are paying for sex, so why aren't you paying it for me?
So is it really, like, she's making the case that it's all about her? Because at first it sounded like they're just not paying for it at all, but now she's like, you are paying for it. 58% of you.
Yeah, well, I think her logic is, I know you guys are paying for sex, but if you're so woke and all this, like, surely some of my friends would be paying me for sex.
Wow. Has she asked them?
I can't remember offhand.
So interesting.
Yeah. Some have pragmatic excuses. I don't have the money. I don't want sex that bad. I can get pussy without paying for it. They're young, they're millennials or Zoomers, and they don't need to pay for sex work because they could just go on an app. She says, when I ask them for my own research, they respond, because I don't have to. So that's a good reason. Like, if you are someone who can get laid, then you're not so inclined to pay someone for sex.
Yeah.
But it's just...
I mean, it's also, like, does she acknowledge that she's somewhat niche, being a trans woman?
That I'm not sure, but that is a good point. There's, it's going to be a small pool of people.
Yeah, I would assume.
Or a smaller pool, I should say. There's definitely a market for that.
And there's also the whole, just awkwardness angle,
Right, it's your friend.
Right.
So when they talked about this on Blocked and Reported, they, because it's the host of that is Katie Herzog and Jesse Singal, and they are both writers. And they just, from the writer's perspective, they're just like, I think this publication just has a bad editor.
For what? For letting it be written?
Yeah, for publishing it. Yeah. Like, a good editor would have looked at this and been like, hey, this doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
Like, this isn't a very good article. And they also made the point that obviously we're in an era of, clickbait, and you got to feed the content machine and that sort of thing. And unfortunately, I think a lot of these publications are kind of taking advantage of young 20-somethings who are willing to talk about their sex life, which is very interesting to people. And granted, they're adults. I don't mean to infantilize them, but it's a good chance, like 10 years from now, she might look at this article and really cringe and wish that like someone kind of said like, hey, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're being stupid.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess to some extent that's an issue with anybody who produces creative content of any kind is probably going to be embarrassed by it in 10 years, but this is particularly personal.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Then again, people seem to be less concerned with that kind of thing these days, so
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully she just looks back and sees that it's maybe she didn't make the most cogent argument. And to be fair, I haven't read the article. Maybe she does, but didn't sound like it from your summary that there's much of a point.
To be fair, I didn't like read it word for word. I kind of just skimmed it myself.
And even if you abstract it away from her particular case and her friends, the question is kind of strange, like just because somebody supports something doesn't mean it's something that they want to do.
Right. I think drugs should be legalized, but I'm not going to go buy meth.
Right. Yeah.
Or decriminalized, I should say.
Mm-hmm. I hear Virginia just decriminalized marijuana.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
Virginia,
surprising.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Decriminalized it or legalized it? Like,
I think decriminalized it. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's good.
I don't know all those details. I just work here, man.
Okay. Next topic of conversation. We're going to talk about feminism, Kevin.
Oh, cool. Yay, women.
Yay, women. Okay. So this, are you familiar with the singer Lana Del Rey?
I know the name, but I can't think of any of her songs.
Okay. So, I like Lana Del Rey. Her music is very beautiful. She gets a lot of criticism, though, for being anti-feminist, I suppose. And the reason for that is that she gets criticism for having her lyrics glamorize abuse. So she has this one song about...
Abuse is great? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. It's like, I love
abuse.
Abuse
Is glamorous.
Yeah. Women should be beat.
Well, I can see why she gets criticized.
Well, she has a song called Ultraviolet Violence, and there's a line in there that, like, it's something to the effect of, like, he hit me and it felt like a kiss, or it felt like love, or something like that. And then she has a song about opening beers for her boyfriend while he plays video games, basically.
No.
And it's a love song.
Not that.
It is kind of a weird song. Like, I've listened to it many times where I'm just like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this, because this boyfriend sounds like...
kind of lame.
Yeah, pretty lame, but it's like a love song. She's talking about how it's like just paradise for them and stuff like... Anyways, whatever. So she recently wrote this in response to some criticism. A question for our culture. Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Cardi B, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have number one songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, fucking, cheating, etc. Can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being loved, even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want without being crucified or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse? 5 million question marks. I'm fed up with the female writers and alt singers saying that I glamorize abuse when in reality, I'm just a glamorous person singing about the realities of what we are all now seeing are very prevalent emotionally abusive relationships all over the world. With all the topics women are finally allowed to explore, I just want to say over the last 10 years, I think it's pathetic that my minor lyrical exploration detailing my sometimes submissive or passive roles in my relationships are often made people say I've set women back 100 years. Let me be clear. I'm not a feminist, but there has to be a place for feminism for women who look and act like me. The kind of woman who says no, but men hear yes. The kind of woman who are slated mercilessly for being their authentic, delicate selves. The kind of women who get their own stories and voices taken away from them by stronger women or by men who hate women. I've been honest and optimistic about the challenging relationships I've had. Newsflash, that's just how it is for many women. And that was sadly my experience up until the point that those records were made. So I just want to say it's been a long 10 years of bullshit reviews up until recently, and I've learned a lot from them. But I also feel it really, really paved the way for other women to stop putting on a happy face and to just be able to say whatever the hell they wanted in their music. Unlike my experience where if I've even expressed a note of sadness in my first 2 records, I was deemed literally hysterical as though it was literally the 1920s. Anyways, none of this has anything to do about much, but, and then for some reason it cuts off there. Oh, wait, sorry. Next page. I'll be detailing some of my feelings in my next 2 books, blah, blah, and then she's promoting something. So, I really liked that message there because I think that's true. Like, her lyrics are they do kind of make you uncomfortable at times. Obviously, she's talking about being abused, and it's kind of this weird little like love song, or talking about like a lame ass boyfriend that she enjoyed her time with.
Yeah.
But that is real. You
Yeah.
know, like she's right. That's real, and that should be spoken about. And also, she is an incredibly powerful woman right now. You know, to put her down for singing about these things, it's like she's not oppressed or suffering in any. Well, she might. I don't know about suffering. Obviously, we just had that conversation. But like, she's obviously on top of her game and very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible for powerful women to also be abused, you know, or powerful men for that matter, and everything in between.
But it's just, I guess my point is, it's ironic that people would say she's like setting back feminism when she's like in this like powerful position.
Yeah. So my take on this, I don't know anything about, like, I don't know these songs. I don't know what the criticisms were, and this wasn't very specific. But in general, I think that it's silly to judge someone's art on the basis of what it implicates about abstract issues of culture and society. That's not really how it works. You know, art is not a policy statement.
Yeah,
it's an expression. So,
well, I hate the idea that like the only way to support women or move the movement of feminism forward is if all depictions of women are women who are powerful and strong at all times.
yeah,
I think that's a setback because we're human,
right?
And we make mistakes and we get in bad situations, and we're not all women are just these strong people. Some, as she said, are delicate and sometimes passive, and that should be okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's kind of hard for me to make much of a sophisticated judgment about this without knowing the details, you know. But
so she got a lot of shit because at the beginning she mentioned Beyonce. And do you know about the Beyonce beehive?
No.
Oh, her I'm going to clue you in on some pop culture, Kevin.
What is pop culture?
So Beyonce.
What is Beyonce?
Beyonce has some rabid fans. So, like, for instance, there was this picture that came out of Beyonce and Jay-Z and some other woman, like a model, or I don't know. And I think Jay-Z was sitting in between them. And there's like this picture of Jay-Z talking to the model, and Beyonce in that moment when that picture was taken, kind of looking pissed off.
I've seen that picture.
Okay. So this woman that Jay-Z was talking to got harassed relentlessly by Beyonce fans.
Really?
Because anytime someone badmouths their queen, they flip out. And
that's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And so there's that, and then also people just in general thought that she was putting down Doja Cat and Cardi B and whatever else by mentioning them at the beginning for dressing promiscuously and talking about sex and stuff like that, which she later reiterated. She was just like, I'm not putting them down. I'm just pointing out.
That's kind of the opposite of her point. She's like, it was always okay is what she's saying. Like, people can express themselves how they want.
She's pointing out a
it's
double
stupid
standard.
to judge them. Yeah.
Because there was a time when that sort of behavior was like looked down upon.
It kind of goes back and forth, it seems. Like,
it does. I feel like
cyclical.
it's slowly getting, like, the trajectory is going towards the positive. Like I feel like in the 90s, the Spice Girls got a lot of shit for wearing like mini skirts and stuff like that. But now I feel like there's definitely a voice of sex positivity more than ever. And it seems to be the voice that's kind of winning the argument at the moment. There are still people that are still going to be pissed off at women for having sex.
I just remember Miley Cyrus back, like, I think about 5 years ago, got a lot of shit for something she was wearing. And I was just defending her to random strangers. Like, anybody who bring it up, I would just get so mad. Because, like, I at the time, I had no idea who she was. I knew she was Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how much I was aware of pop
culture. Did you know
culture.
she was Hannah Montana?
Nope.
Okay.
I had never even seen her until she started getting all this back talk for her outfit. And, hadn't heard her music and didn't know anything about her, but it was just like, come on, it really felt like we had regressed 10 years at that point.
Yeah, that was really silly. The thing about that, and I'm not making excuses for it, but what happened was she was Hannah Montana, which was a Disney star. It was a show about a girl who was like a secret pop star. And since it was Disney, it was very wholesome and stuff like that. But I think once she turned 18, she was ready to be an adult. And she kind of went to the other end of the spectrum and just wanted to, like, you know, dress the way she wanted to dress, which happened to be, like, hypersexual and stuff like that. And I think people kind of were just like, because they just remember her as this kid, this wholesome kid.
That's their problem.
Exactly. I totally agree. 100%. And then the incident I believe you're talking about was when she wore, like, it was a nude colored latex, like, kind of bra and panty where she almost kind of looked naked, but you couldn't really see anything. And then she was singing a duet with the guy, I forget his name, the guy that sings Blurred Lines.
Oh, yeah.
And they sang together, and she was, like, grinding on him and stuff like that. And they just thought it was just outrageous. But the irony was the guy that sang Blurred Lines, like, that was a married man grinding with a young girl half his age, and he didn't get any shit. Yeah, that's fine.
Not to mention the lyrics of that song. I like that song.
The rape song.
Right, it's a rape song. I liked that song when it came out. And
it's a catchy song.
And I mentioned it to a friend of mine, and she was like, have you heard the lyrics? Like, have you actually paid attention? And I was like, well, no, of course not. It's got a nice beat, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I read the lyrics, and I was like, oh, God, it's not cool. And it's called Blurred Lines. And I was like, oh, that's what it's about. It's about rape. It's not blurred lines. It's assault.
Yeah, it's, you know you want it.
Right, yeah. So, and like, if there's going to be a controversy anywhere in that story, how about that?
Well, that was a controversy, too.
Yeah, but I mean, like, with her dancing, like, maybe somebody could have said,
stupid.
hey, maybe you shouldn't dance to a rape song. Like, that's okay, valid point. But no, they're like, I don't like your clothes. I don't like being able to see your ass.
Stop sticking out your tongue.
It's offensive.
Yeah, that was very silly. And I like Miley Cyrus. I feel bad because, like, all that controversy and stuff really overshadowed the fact that she has an amazing voice. She's actually an incredible singer. Did you ever see, well, probably not since you mentioned how much you know about Miley Cyrus, but she did a duet with Dolly Parton singing Jolene.
No.
So pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
really
heard
beautiful.
more of her music since this controversy. That was just like the first time I had heard it, I think. And actually it wasn't even her music. It was that song. But yeah, the stuff I've heard, she seems talented. I like her attitude, really, more than anything. Mm-hmm. Like, when I see her talking, she's just, like, totally off the cuff and confident in a way that I respect.
I agree. You know? I saw there was some award show where I can't remember what it was about, but, like, Nicki Minaj just called her out live. Like, Nicki Minaj was at a podium with a microphone, and then Miley Cyrus was, like, off somewhere else, but she was kind of hosting the show or something. And then when Nicki Minaj had the stand, she called her out on something and said, like, what's good? And I don't know what it was about, but it just seemed like pure drama, you know? And Miley Cyrus, like, without missing a beat, just had the perfect, most, like, diplomatic response. And she was just like, it was almost like she had, maybe it was planned, now that I say it. Like, it was almost like it was scripted.
Was this the WWE?
I don't know. Now that I think about it, it might have been a total PR stunt. But I remember people were reporting on it like it was real. But I was impressed how she just responded to it, like, very maturely and just very succinct. And yeah, she seems like she has a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah. All right, so we've solved Lana Del Rey's dilemma.
All right, we solved feminism. We've solved transsexual sex work. Let's figure out if this person on the internet is an asshole.
They are, I've decided. Fuck this person.
Am I the asshole? So, for people who are new to listening to this, Am I the Asshole is a subreddit where people write in stories and ask, am I the asshole in this story? So the title is, am I the asshole for refusing to let my soon-to-be divorced sister and my niece move in with me because it would ruin my sex life? So her husband kicked her out within the past few days, so she's currently staying with a friend. It seems like they've been headed down this road for a while, but finally the dam broke and they officially split. She asked if she could stay with me until she can find an apartment, which she thinks might take several weeks or longer, and I told her she couldn't. The reason I said no is because I recently started dating a new girl and have had some of the best sex in my life. It's definitely the most adventurous, so if my sister and niece moved in, it would really kill off a lot of fun and we'd have to be a lot more restrained. Our parents live about an hour away, so although it would be a lot more inconvenient since my sister works in our city, and would have to have a long commute, it's not like she's without options. She may also be able to find a friend willing to let her stay with them if she looked, but I can see that it would be most convenient if she stayed with me. Am I the asshole?
What do you think?
I don't... It's a little tricky. I think, like, technically, yes, but also I feel like he totally has the right to be like, no. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's your space. Like, you get to choose that.
I mean, I would say even without having an excuse like sex life to hang it on, you can still just say no. You know? I wouldn't let somebody just come in and... Especially because he's talking about, like, it's not an emergency or anything. It's just...
Right. They
knew they were going to split up, and then they did, and she didn't plan ahead.
Yeah. Now, if she was without options, if it was like, I have to live with my brother or I'm totally homeless, then he would be an asshole, I think.
Yeah. Unless he doesn't like her. Then it's okay.
Yeah. If it was like, what was that story you read a while ago about the girl getting contacted by her biological mom and sister wanting her kidney and
yeah
so I read the comments on this and people overwhelmingly think this guy's an asshole. And there was one woman who made a comment that actually got a bunch of likes, and it was kind of our opinion here, where she said, not the asshole, it doesn't matter what the reason is. If you don't want someone living with you, that's your right. The sister and niece aren't without options. That's the whole point of getting your own place. You get to make the rules of what you want. Is he corny? Yes. An asshole? No.
That's a pretty good summary.
I think so. So there was some follow-up. So someone said, ask for more info. Can't you all canoodle at your girlfriend's place? And he said, I guess we could. It wouldn't be as convenient, but that would be an option.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, someone said, seriously, dude? He said, my thought being that I have the right to be comfortable in my own home. And he got negative 554 points for that.
Damn.
Yeah. I've noticed a trend in Am I the Asshole where women are clearly favored. Like, if women get slighted, especially by a man, it's like, usually they're just like, oh, you're such an asshole.
Yeah, that's that.
I wonder if the genders were reversed, if this was like a woman and her brother wanted to move in and she was just starting anew.
Yeah, I feel like the crowd would be on her side still.
Yeah.
Just always on the woman's side.
Yeah.
Us men can't get a break. Always being oppressed by women on Reddit.
Yeah, and to be fair, so many of these Am I the Asshole stories are from men acting like total assholes to women. Or women talking about their husbands where it's just like, girl, you're gonna die.
Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. So I think it is kind of asshole-ish, but I totally support his right to be like, no, sorry, it's my space.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't let some family member come bunk with me unless it was an emergency.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, just because someone's family doesn't mean you have a great relationship with them, or you
or that you're
anything.
Obligated to. Yeah, that's the thing, is you don't. I mean, yeah, boundaries are really important. People have to maintain independence and they have to maintain their own space, and I don't see why that should be given up unless there's a really good reason. Not just like, I don't want to be inconvenienced.
Right.
You know.
Well, that was a little too easy.
Next.
All right, should I find another one here?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. I am just going to put up this one. All right. Am I the asshole for punishing my son for not wanting to go to his grandfather's funeral, is the title. My wife's father recently passed away, and long story short, he spent a lot of time with our 8-year-old son, and they got along fairly well. In the days leading up to the funeral, my son was obviously upset about his grandfather's passing, but nonetheless, we asked him if he wanted to go to the funeral, and he said yes. On the day of the funeral, as I was driving there, one of us mentioned it being an open casket, and my son asked what that meant. I told him that his grandfather's body would be on display so we can face him and say any final goodbyes. My son freaked out and suddenly went into hysterics about not wanting to go, as he didn't want to see the body. My wife tried to calm him down, but he was very upset. After his constant wailing, I got pissed off and slammed my brakes and turned the car around to drop him off. I was yelling at him for changing his mind the whole way back while he sat there doing his crying act. Jesus. Fortunately, we were able to drop him off at our neighbor's house who has babysat him in the past, and we arrived to the funeral late and missed most of the speeches. I was livid, and my wife was upset, being that it was her father's funeral. When we got back to the house, I ended up punishing him for 3 weeks, no TV, games, etc., and all his time had to be spent studying. My wife has been disagreeing with me about the punishment, but I told her that we gave him the option of not going, and he chose to do so, and that it wasn't right that he changed his mind and made us late. Normally, I wouldn't be harsh, but since my wife is in a vulnerable state and she missed most of the funeral, I essentially blame my son 100% for all this.
That guy's definitely the asshole.
Yeah, oh my God.
No question. He's a 100% asshole.
That's an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That doesn't want to look at a dead body.
Right. Yeah, this guy's a total idiot. I feel like this guy was in a situation that didn't have a good solution, which happens in life sometimes.
Totally.
And he just chose to blame a child.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's like... Yeah, he's clearly the asshole. Like, but it's like... I guess it could have been avoided if they had the foresight to tell him about what an open casket means. But
right.
Obviously it just didn't occur to them. Because...
But once he started freaking out, like... Take him home.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you going to do?
Oh, that poor kid. He's probably traumatized.
Yeah, like that experience is bad enough. And then he punished him for 3 weeks after that. Like, just what an asshole.
Yeah,
fuck this guy.
Clearly. Oh, that poor boy.
Wow.
Men.
So I guess some of them are I bet if he was a woman, it wouldn't be the same answer. Some of these are pretty unambiguous, I guess.
Yeah, all right, let's look at this one. Am I the asshole for saying, phew, you have a long way to go to my girlfriend while working out? I love the titles of these. Okay. I try and stay fit, keep some dumbbells, and bench inside the house. I work 5 to 6 times a week at home currently. I think it started to rub off on her. She has joined the past 3 days, which I admire for her. If you want to change your life, take action. She has. Props for her. Today I was working out my core, push-ups, planks, sit-ups, 10 sets for all these 6. Okay, well, he's going through his workout. Jesus. She joined a little late in my sets. I already had 40 reps done. I wasn't going to make her 60 reps. Told her just in where I'm at. I get my set in and she's doing her push-ups, but only was able to do 4 legit ones. I didn't say anything. Time for planks. I do my minute. Her turn. She only lasted 27 seconds, which again, I didn't say anything. Left it alone. Last one is sit-ups. I do my 10, turn to her, and she's able to do 6 legit ones without moving her feet. This is where I say, phew, you have a long way to go. She said sorry. Her energy wasn't really the same after that. After we actually get done with everything, she told me that comment made her feel bad. I told her I'm just trying to push her to work harder. I can get everyone has to start somewhere, but she isn't overly overweight or obese. When you ask or join me to work out, I expect the same energy. Yes, it's the thought that counts, but also it's the action too. You want to work out with me? I'm going to push you how I would push myself.
Okay, I think he's not the asshole for that comment, but he's just an asshole overall based on the tone of this.
Yes. I think he's clearly an asshole. So here's the thing, like, I think you can get away with making a comment like that with a lot of people. Like, yeah. You can kind of, like, a lot of people like to be teased. I'm one of those people. I like it when people, like, tease me or, like, give me shit on stuff.
It also sounds like he wasn't teasing. He was, like, really criticizing you. Like, you're really phoning it in, bitch. Like, come on. You said you wanted to work out, so work out. What are you doing here? Go home.
Okay, well.
His attitude is not, like, a joking kind of.
Okay, fair enough. So I was just giving that as one example. But also, like, even if you're serious, there are some people that would, like, kind of like that kind of more harsh, like, tough love, if you will, push. But she clearly doesn't. And when she made that clear, he should have changed his tone. And, like, and that would have made him not the asshole if he was just like, oh, she felt bad, and so I'm not going to say stuff like that anymore. I didn't mean it. You know, I just wanted to encourage her. And if that's not encouraging, then I won't talk like that. But no, he's just sticking to his guns.
Yeah, and, like, the whole time, even leading up to that, he was just he was very specific about how many push-ups she did, how many sit-ups she did, how many were legit. Like, this, he's just got the wrong attitude.
And he's comparing himself, a man who works out, with a woman who just started working out.
Right, it's her first time, right? Like, come on, man. He's got the wrong attitude.
Men.
Sounds like a fucking drill instructor or something.
Yeah, what a dick.
All right, so that one was easy too. A lot of these are pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. Am I the asshole for having standards for the shows I watch?
I wonder if that's a biased title.
So some of these are really funny because like sometimes you'll read the title like that. So just ring the title. I'm thinking like this guy's an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes they surprise you. Sometimes you're like, whoa, like it really turned around.
Have our minds blown
I don't
here.
know if this is gonna be one of them, but I've seen that before. So my girlfriend and I always pick one show we watch. We want to watch. Always pick one show we want each other to watch, and then take turns watching it. Well, I like to think I have pretty good taste in the shows I watch. Everything I've recommended to my friends and watched with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend ended up loving it. Not only that, but I've watched enough that I can tell pretty well which shows are going to be quality content and which ones are not without even watching. Lately, my girlfriend has been practicing begging me to watch Rick and Morty with her. Something about it being on Netflix now, and I have to see it, and she knows I'll love it. The thing is, I have standards. I've watched a lot of great shows, and I am not going to watch any kind of cartoon or anime. They just don't hold up even close to quality shows I've watched. I've outright refused, and my girlfriend got annoyed because she always tries my shows, but I feel like there's a big difference here. I have a ton of experience when it comes to judging the quality of shows' storytelling characters, while she does not. Plus, she's trying to get me to watch a children's cartoon. I mean, really? You can't tell me with a straight face that our sides are equal. She's already tried to get me to watch more than one anime show, all of which I've had to veto, and I'm starting to get really peeved. Am I the asshole for having standards and all this?
What do you think?
He clearly doesn't know anything about this show. It's not a children's show.
Yeah, and it's not a question of standards either. He's an asshole for going back on the agreement.
Yeah.
You know? They have an agreement. She holds up her side of it, so he showed up his. And also he's an asshole for thinking there's no good animated shows.
Yeah, that's absurd.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's another easy
Men.
one. Men.
And also, Rick and Morty is a great show. I keep trying to get you to watch it.
Yeah, a lot of people have tried to get me to watch it. I don't have a problem with it, but the first episode I saw was completely overwhelming. I think I was tired or sick or something, and it was just like every second there was like a new thing, and there were shifting dimensions, and I'm just like, all right, already.
That's all the episodes.
But
yeah.
I think I could adjust to the cadence.
Yeah, it is a chaotic show, and I know how you get kind of overwhelmed by chaotic shows.
Crawl show.
The
Crawl show. It's hilarious, but God, like, because the thing is, I usually have anxiety at night. So, like, if I'm watching TV, it's usually because I'm trying to stop having anxiety at night. And then, like, Crawl Show comes on. It's just like fucking strobe lights. And
so if you guys don't know Crawl Show, it's a show, I don't think it's on anymore, but it's a sketch comedy by Nick Kroll. And the intro is like this dubstep. Like, blah, 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 blah,
and then the whole episode is just like bouncing joke to joke to joke, back to this joke, back to that joke, like 10-second breaks.
It's quite chaotic. And,
it was funny,
Rick and Morty does have that same energy. Totally different shows, but same kind of chaotic energy. Yeah, my friend actually mentioned that they just got new episodes out of Rick and Morty. And I was like, man, I wish I could watch it with you because Kevin has to be in the right mood for it.
yeah. There's certain shows I have to be in the right mood for, If they're stressful or like super depressing, then I have to be emotionally prepared for it. I mean, I could pretend to watch and just like zone out, but then
no, you really gotta watch it because it's like the jokes are really quick and they are really clever and funny, and it is a good show.
Enough cool people I know have recommended it that I think it must be a really good show.
Yeah,
so
I think you'd like
I hope
it.
to eventually get into it, but not yet. It's been a few years actually since I tried.
Yeah, well, you should try it.
Yeah.
All right, should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm just going to go ahead and say whoever posted it is the asshole.
Okay.
Whoa. That's a yes.
Did you read the title of the Instagram one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. I read this and it's obviously going to be an easy one. Am I the asshole for permanently deleting my girlfriend's Instagram?
Yep.
All right, let's do this one. It's not such a big ratio, so I'm going to take that to mean maybe it's a little more nuanced, because usually the biggest ratioed ones are the ones that are really obvious and people are just like outraged. Am I the asshole for taking a 3-hour nap every afternoon and expecting my husband to look after the kids and only wake me up for emergencies? My husband, 38, and I, 34, have been married for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old daughter and a 3-month-old son. Our son has a health condition and needs to be fed every 40 to 80 minutes. Wow. I work in IT. I can easily work from home and generally make my own schedule. My husband works from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. I get up every hour at night to feed our son so my husband can sleep. I drop our daughter off at the kindy in the morning.
It's probably kindergarten.
Yeah, that must be
but in cute language.
Or Brit or Aussie or something.
Or that.
And then work and look after my son. I obviously don't get much sleep during the night, so I have started to get sleep at 3:30 to 7 p.m. And I made it clear that I am not to be woken unless it's emergency. My husband looks after the kids and cooks tea while I sleep. And at 7 we eat. After we take turns reading stories to our daughter as our bedtime ritual. She's usually down for the night at 8. Then my husband and I have time from 8 to roughly 9:30 is when he goes to sleep. After that, it's only me looking after our son so my husband can sleep through the night. I usually do some more work and go to sleep around midnight, but obviously very interrupted sleep since I have to get up every hour. My husband has started complaining recently. He doesn't think I should sleep in the afternoon because during that time childcare is on him completely. He wants some time to relax when he gets home, but the thing is, I need a few hours of uninterrupted sleep, otherwise I'll go crazy. Our son will most likely outgrow this condition and should be able to live a normal toddler life by the time he's 18. I can't possibly not sleep for another year and 3 months, though. My husband isn't happy. Fucking men.
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 This is one where I would like to know the other side of it, because if he's not proposing an alternate solution, then I think he's the asshole. But it's not really clear. Because, like, if he's just saying, yeah, it's fine for you to just wake up every 40 minutes and then not nap later.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah,
like,
may not give you that time.
That's an asshole move. Either way, it sucks. But you do need some uninterrupted sleep, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, she could look into polyphasic sleep. But that's the thing, is like,
what's that?
If he's... Well, polyphasic sleep is there's different kinds, but it's basically where you don't sleep for one block of time. But there's specific ways, supposedly, that you can break up your sleep. Some people do this thing where they sleep for like 20 minutes every hour and a half or something like that. I think Neil Strauss talked about this.
Yeah, I remember that. He's trying to like have a threesome,
right.
And he
so,
had
sorry,
to
I need a nap.
Such a good chapter. Oh my god.
But
and he managed to wake up and still make a threesome happen because he's got game.
Well, I mean that shows a lot of confidence. You're like, hold on, ladies, I need to take a nap. Just wait 20 minutes. What a turn on, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So there's things like that she could do, but the point is, like, yeah, if he's not offering some other solution, then sounds like he's the asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about these like one-sided things. Like, obviously, there's another side to the story, and you can only really go off of what the one person is saying.
But if he's just like, no, you get no naps.
Yeah.
Don't nap. I need time to relax.
Yeah.
Then that's pretty asshole-ish.
That one was boring. Boring.
Yeah, it just made me so glad I don't have kids.
I know, right?
Just the whole time, just like, fuck. So glad.
I just don't think there's anything that prepares you for it, you know? Like, you can talk, I'm sure well, I don't know anything about these two people, but like you can talk about with your partner, like having kids and what's it going to be like and how you're going to divide up responsibilities and stuff like that. And then bam, you get a kid that has to eat every 40 minutes.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
That's just like, I wouldn't want to deal with just like a normal kid.
Yeah, healthy kid.
Or two. I mean, they have two, right? Isn't that what she said?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
four-year-old daughter and 3-month-old son.
Fuck.
Wow. And the son has the health condition. Whew.
Yeah, let's just get rid of those kids.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's the son that's the asshole.
Yeah, fuck that
Plot
kid.
twist.
Yeah. Oh, I have to eat every 40 minutes. Oh, it's all about me.
Funny.
Asshole.
Fucking asshole. Kids are the asshole. That's the title of this episode, I've decided.
That's a good one.
All right.
All right.
Wrap it up?
Let's do that. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And send us your questions at standardpodcast.com.
Yeah, if you want to know if you're the asshole.
Oh, yeah. We should get some Am I the Asshole questions.
Yeah. If you guys have any stories and want us to decide if you're the asshole, we would really like that. That'd be cool.
That would be good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.